It's a Scorpio Lagna chart that I have taken. A Vargotam Navansh in D9, so Scorpio again, and Dhanu as the Lagna for D10. This is clearly the chart, the Scorpio Lagna chart that has been taken by me, and I've given you the two most important reasons of taking Scorpio as the ascendant for this chart. Now, if I were to discuss this chart, so in the Scorpio Lagna chart, there's a striking combination of Mars and Moon in Lagna. There is retrograde Jupiter in the 4th house as the 5th lord. And what is a very powerful yoga is a Gemini yoga as well, which is that of Atmakarak Saturn and Amatyakarak Venus in the 10th house. Here the 10th lord, for a Scorpio Lagna, the 10th lord is Surya, Sun. Sun here is conjunct in the 11th house of elevation with the 11th lord, retrograde Mercury, but both are in Rahu Ketu axis, affecting the 5th house's Karakattvas, and we know that he doesn't have children. And of course, retrograde Jupiter as the lord of the 5th house has the aspect of both Saturn and Mars. So the Karakattvas of 5th are troubled, and that is another point why I'm taking a Scorpio Lagna for this chart. Now, I've mentioned that the 10th lord is conjunct with the 11th lord, retrograde Mercury. Here, the Lagna lord Mars is conjunct with the 9th lord of Bhagya, Chandrama. Of course, Chandrama is debilitated. One can see that. And Chandrama is also in the nakshatra of Anuradha, which is Saturn's nakshatra.
Okay.
It is definitely very close to a sannyas yoga, but not fully a sannyas yoga. Whenever Saturn is in the Rashi of Mars, has the aspect of Saturn, and one can see that in D1 and D9, then it leads to detachment, it leads to a spiritual pursuit. Now, there is, one can see that there is trouble, but this is not the case of an absolute sannyas. But whenever one has read, about Prime Minister Modi, one has seen, that at one point in time, he did leave it all and, he'd gone further up the mountains. But it is said that a sadhu told him that there was a lot that he had to do back there in the world. So the idea of taking complete sannyas was not for him. It is said that he was actually guided to not take sannyas. Now, a very interesting combination is that of Mars and Moon, as I said, Lagna Lord and 9th Lord. Both are in Sarpadresh Kona. A debilitated 9th Lord in Sarpadresh Kona, so one knows that the father did not have a long life, the mother did. That is very clear. From Moon, which is the 9th Lord, in square is Saturn, and Moon is conjunct with Mars. That is troublesome for the father's longevity, and that is clear. Both Moon and Mars being in Sarpadresh Kona will definitely move this native, this person, towards yogic activities. I'm using the word activities, but the realm is pretty serious. But otherwise, there will be a sense of bandhan, if I may use, for both these planets to be in Sarpadresh Kona. They can really trouble him. Jupiter, retrograde Jupiter, which is in the 4th house, is in Parshadresh Kona. That too is a bit of they are in quadrant to each other. Both the Trikona lords, this is a very important point. Both Chandrama and Brihaspati, which are Trikona lords for a Scorpio Lagna, are in quadrant to each other. It is also giving a lot of power to this chart because both of them squared each other. Now, in many horoscopes, important Trikonas square themselves. But here, they have squared themselves in Kendras. That's important. And the other two Kendra lords. Saturn is also a Kendra lord here. It's the 4th lord. Venus, the 7th lord, is also the lord of Padaprapti. Both of them have conjunct and gone to the 10th. Venus as a 7th lord is also Vargottama. Venus is in the nakshatra of the 10th lord, which is Uttar Falguni nakshatra. And Surya, retrograde Mercury, which are in the 11th, 10th, in the 11th with the 11th Lord, are again in the nakshatra of the 10th Lord, Uttar Falguni. This is a very powerful yoga. If you look at it historically, then PM Modi has been CM of Gujarat. So from 2001, when he became the CM of Gujarat, he ran the dasha of Venus Mercury. And in 14,
Okay.
yeah, in Venus Mercury. So if you look at Venus Mercury, Mercury is the 11th Lord here, and Venus I've already explained in the nakshatra of the 10th Lord, Vargottama, with the aspect of the Kendras and this conjunction of Atmakarak and Amatyakarak. So Venus Mercury is when he first became the chief minister of Gujarat.
Hmm.
And then came the dasha of Surya, while he continued to be the chief minister, because from 2001 to 2014 he remained the chief minister of Gujarat. So Surya also repeatedly gave him this position where he won again and became the chief minister. Now in 2014 he ran the dasha of Moon, Jupiter, and again Mercury, the Pratyantar dasha of Mercury. Moon and Jupiter I have already explained, but here I will also tell you something. A very interesting principle of mundane astrology. Jupiter in Taurus. When Jupiter comes in Taurus, in the horoscope of independent India, it has come into the Lagna and conjuncts itself with Rahu in Lagna. When Jawaharlal Nehru went away, Jupiter was in Taurus. In 1977, when there was a revolution through ballot and Indira Gandhi lost her position, Jupiter was in Taurus. In 2014, when after Congress and a new wave emerged and Modi ji became Prime Minister, Jupiter had just moved out of Taurus. So there is a revolutionary link to Jupiter in Taurus in the horoscope of India. Even in 1989, when VP Singh had won and Congress was sitting in opposition, Jupiter was in Taurus. 2014, when the mood of the nation changed and there was a revolution again through ballot, Jupiter was in Taurus. Jupiter had just moved out of Taurus. So that is a very interesting point that comes in this cycle with respect to the horoscope of India, Jupiter in Taurus. So that was an interesting point I thought I'd share here with you. So 2014, it was Moon, Jupiter, Mercury. I've mentioned that. In 2019, when he became the PM, he ran Moon, Venus and Rahu. Moon, Venus and Rahu are very, very clear. At that point in time, Rahu was transiting over the 9th house in Cancer. And that too was a very powerful transit. So if you see, in the dasha of Chandrama, he became Prime Minister twice. Why? Because in the dasha of Chandrama, which is placed in the Lagna, all the Rajyogas came alive. This entire combination of Atmakarak, Amatyakarak, 10th and 11th, conjunct with the 11th, everything which was natally a promise became beautifully activated when he ran the dasha of Chandrama, placed in Lagna as the 9th Lord, conjunct with the Lagna Lord. That in itself is Raj Yoga.
Okay.
And after the end of the dasha of Moon, what has started now is the dasha of Mars. From April end 2023, PM Modi runs the dasha of Mars Saturn. He starts running the dasha of Mars Saturn, which will continue till June beginning 2024. So which means elections will happen when this dasha is in play. Now this is a slightly tricky and critical period for him, because these are malefics in Kendras. I will share a principle that normally is not much accessible, or information, astrological principle that is not much accessible to people. Saturn in Jupiter's nakshatra. When Prime Minister Modi first became PM, Saturn was transiting in Jupiter's nakshatra Vishakha, and Saturn was in Tula. That was a decisive moment for him. An absolute change, an absolutely decisive moment where life changed from chief minister, when nobody had, probably people thought that, it was LK Advani, but I wouldn't say that he annihilated competition, but he just rose as the man who everybody wanted, for him to be in this position of power. In 2024, in April end, Saturn is again transiting Jupiter's nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapad, because Saturn is going to be in Aquarius And the last 10 degrees of Aquarius are going to be Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra of Jupiter. And 3 degree 20 minutes will move into Pisces. So these 10 degrees of Purva Bhadrapad in Aquarius are going to be very, very critical for PM Modi, which means that there will be a tumultuous situation that will come up in the country. But the point is that the dasha he runs, he will again be PM. So that is something that I'm predicting on your channel, that in 2024, we again see PM Modi victorious and becoming Prime Minister once again, but it's not easy. It's tumultuous because the period is tumultuous when we see Mars, Saturn. And here's a hint, I'm not saying it fully. When Saturn transits through the nakshatra of Jupiter, which is happening just before the elections in 2024, that will be a very decisive point for him. But he is victorious. He will be PM once more. Yeah.
Wow.
This is an analysis of his chart that I wanted to share.
So a lot of accusation, Modi has to go through a lot of accusation. Like I think he centers hate and love equally, right from the beginning. I also want to know one thing from you, that does he have any, like people say that he used to be a renunciant and, he was a sadhu. Does he have any Mahapurush yogas or any sadhu yogas in his chart that indicate that?
See, there is definitely more than a shade. And I would say a lot of shades of a renunciate, but it is not the chart of a full renunciate. But there definitely are shades of a renunciate. A lot of people think that they have a spiritual streak while they don't, but this is like a genuine spiritual streak. Mars and Moon lead to detachment. Moon in the nakshatra of Saturn as the ninth lord will lead to detachment. There are no two ways about it. And both of them being in the Sarpadreshkon. Remember Sarpadreshkon, planets in Sarpadreshkon are not good for a worldly life. But every time you look at, and this is a term which has often been, so often being used that it has lost its real, its real true meaning. Kundalini Jagran happens as well in planets, when important planets transit over natal planets in the Sarpadreshkon. Or that's a very these are points that I normally don't discuss, but yes. So never overlook planets in Sarpadreshkon, and here it's the ninth lord with the Lagna lord in Sarpadreshkon. So it's there is a lot of merit, there is a lot of truth in him having shades of a renunciate. There is no doubt about it.
Okay.